Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're planning to study, work, or even transition your career in the UK anytime soon, you really need to listen closely. We are looking at a massive earthquake of changes hitting UK immigration and visa rules in 2026, and the landscape is shifting rapidly beneath your feet.
So, here is our survival roadmap for today. We're going to cover the 2026 visa earthquake, rising costs, surviving the compliance gauntlet, the shrinking graduate route, skilled worker rules, and finally, how to actually navigate your journey.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the 2026 visa earthquake. The clock is officially ticking on your UK ambitions.
The Home Office has just rolled out this sweeping package of amendments, and honestly, it is a literal race against time. We've got this incredibly tight window coming up. You've got April's fee hikes right at the start, followed pretty quickly by an absolute cutoff for the full graduate route in December. Missing literally any of these looming deadlines could cost you thousands of pounds or worse, completely derail your post-study plans.
Moving on to Section 2, rising costs and new fees. Basically, budgeting for the new normal.
So the baseline for simply surviving in the UK has officially been raised. If you want to study in London, you now have to prove that a staggering £13,761 is just sitting in your bank account. And that is purely for 9 months of living costs. Even outside of London, you're still looking at well over 10 grand. And remember, that strictly excludes your actual tuition.
And on top of that, the actual application costs are creeping up too. If you submit on or after April 8th, you are walking right into mandatory fee hikes. The student visa jumps from £524 to £558. Now, I know that might sound like a relatively small bump on its own, but when you pair it with those living costs we just talked about, it compounds really fast. Let's just do the math real quick. A typical 3-year bachelor's application from outside the UK is now going to cost you a heavy £2,886 upfront. That's the new application fee, plus 3 full years of the immigration health surcharge, which is your mandatory fee to access the UK healthcare system. And yes, all of that must be paid in full well in advance.
All right, Section 3, surviving the compliance gauntlet. We're talking about avoiding the hidden trapdoors.
Because having the money, that's really only half the battle. You might be wondering why universities are suddenly demanding more documents, positive hepatitis B tests, and running these rigorous credibility interviews comparing the UK to other countries. Well, they aren't just doing it to be difficult. Their actual license to sponsor international students is literally on the line. It all boils down to the government's new UKVI RAG rating system, red, amber, green, which kicks off in the 2026 admission cycle. Universities are absolutely terrified of falling into the amber or red zones. If they do, they face intense monitoring and massive restrictions on their ability to issue your CAS, that's your confirmation of acceptance for studies. So to stay in the safe green zone, they are putting your application under a microscope.
And this brings us to what is easily the most dangerous trapdoor of all, the unforgiving 28-day rule. Listen to this. If your bank balance dips by a single pound, literally £1, below the threshold during this 28-day window, your visa will be rejected immediately. No exceptions whatsoever. And to make it trickier, the bank statement proving you held those funds must be generated within 31 days of applying.
Oh, and here's another massive trapdoor. The temptation to use AI. Do not do it. University compliance teams are actively hunting for ChatGPT-generated work. If they catch you automating your personal statement, you'll be flagged for lacking genuine intent, and they will shut down your application right then and there. They need to hear your authentic voice.
Okay, let's dive into Section 4, the shrinking graduate route. It's time to secure your post-study timeline.
If you take away just one single number from this entire explainer, please make it this one. The golden era of the 2-year post-study work visa, it is abruptly coming to an end for most students. Take a really close look at this cutoff. If you're finishing a bachelor's or master's degree in 2026, you absolutely must apply by December 31st to lock in your full 2 years. If you miss that window and apply on January 1st, 2027, you instantly drop down to 18 months. That is 6 whole months of unsponsored work rights just gone, vanished. Now, thankfully, PhD graduates remain completely unaffected and keep their full 3 years. So, the crucial point here is that to secure those 2 years before the cutoff, you need exactly £3,007 saved up. That specifically covers the graduate route application fee and the new, higher health surcharge. Plus, you have to apply from inside the UK, before your current student visa expires, and critically before that December 31st trap door closes.
Section 5. Skilled Worker Rule Changes. Let's see how this impacts employers and your future job.
For those of you aiming to transition into a sponsored skilled worker role, you need to know that your future employers are facing some brutal new compliance checks. Under the old system, officials just looked at your annualized average salary. But now, a simple pay period dip below the minimum threshold triggers immediate government action against the employer. Because of this, companies are going to be incredibly cautious about offering sponsorships.
Furthermore, nationality-specific bans are coming into force. A sweeping new 18-month visa break drops on March 26, 2026. This measure instantly blocks student visa applications from nationals of Afghanistan, Cameroon, Myanmar, and Sudan. It also completely halts skilled worker visas for Afghanistan. It's a sudden, heavy-handed measure designed to strictly control route numbers. All right, Section 6, Navigating Your UK Journey. Let's talk about actionable steps for success.
To survive 2026, meticulous planning is really your only option. You need to apply before April 8th to dodge those fee hikes. Target green-rated universities for much smoother admissions. You absolutely must safeguard your finances with absolute precision to beat the 28-day rule. And if you're a graduate applicant, you have to treat your application like an all-out sprint to beat that December 31st drop-off. Now, despite all these immense hurdles we've just covered, the UK remains a premier global destination. The true value of a UK education and the post-study experience is still highly sought after across the world. But that's really only true if you know exactly how to play by their new, strictly enforced rules.
But honestly, we have to ask the hard question. With upfront costs skyrocketing, the post-study window shrinking rapidly, and a ruthless compliance gauntlet waiting at the door, is the UK still your ultimate destination for global success, or is it time to start looking at global alternatives? Check your budget, map out your timeline, and make your move. Thanks so much for joining this explainer. Until next time, plan carefully.